Water is, at its core, a source of life. We interact with water every day, both as a resource and much more than that. One of the most important relationships we have with water here in the Maritimes is with the ocean. Over 7 million Canadians live in coastal communities across the country, and we rely on our oceans for food, jobs, and the continued health of our environment. Part of the ocean system that many of us are familiar with is the intertidal zone. This area is where the ocean meets the land, typically spanning from the water level at low tide to the level at high tide. Now this distance can vary. Here in Halifax, it's usually under 2 meters, but in some sections of the Bay of Fundy, the range can be up to 16 meters. These unique ecosystems have a high diversity of species living within them. Disturbances like tidal fluctuations, wave action, wind, storms, or even other species can actually lead to this higher level of diversity. Having some forms of intermediate disturbances can lower the risks of things like competitive exclusion, where two species in the same habitat using the same resources eventually cannot coexist. With the inherent disturbances that come with living in the intertidal zone, species are typically kept from completely dominating an ecosystem, while still adapting to survive these conditions. There are different sections of the intertidal zone that house different species, which is why this ecosystem has a fairly distinct zonation. With very different niches, the intertidal zone is divided most generally in the high, middle, and low zones. The high or upper zone is the area only covered by water during high tides. Because of the difficult conditions and risks of desiccation, it is mainly populated by species like barnacles and periwinkles. Most barnacles have a wide fundamental niche where they can live in the environments of all zones, but they experience higher levels of both competition and predation at lower zones. So it is the upper intertidal zone where many barnacles survive best. This makes it their realized niche. The middle intertidal zone is able to house larger crustaceans as well as many mollusks. Some mollusks' biggest fear can also be found in this zone. That is, their predator, the starfish. Starfish are carnivores and typically hailed as a keystone species within intertidal ecosystems. Keystone species are major determinants of biodiversity and greatly impact the structure of ecological communities. They have a small biomass but have big impacts. Sea stars create what we know as a top-down driven trophic cascade. This means that starfish predation influences abundance or behavior at lower trophic levels, which then impacts the entire system. They end up regulating the number of other species, which impacts the community assemblance of species and impacts species distribution, which can all widely change the intertidal zone overall. The final section of the intertidal zone is the lower zone. This is the area which remains underwater until the lowest spring tides occur, during the full or new moon. This section in particular has a high diversity of species, housing many seaweeds, crabs, urchins, snails, worms, and even fish. Most marine species survive best in water, so it's unsurprising that this lower section has more species which can survive the environmental conditions, and more nutrients to offer. Beyond the zones of living within the intertidal system, there are many species that rely on the intertidal zones without living in them. Animals like bears, wolves, deers, otters, seals, and many others take advantage of the abundant nutrients produced within these ecosystems and play an important role as predators. Seabirds are also important predators, and they are able to redistribute nutrients across habitats with their deposition of guano. Something vital in how we can understand this system is that humans also have an incredibly large impact on these ecosystems. The indigenous practice of two-eyed seeing is combining the teachings and knowledge of indigenous communities with the knowledge given by Western science. It is by bridging the knowledge between these two systems that we can best improve the conservation and management of aquatic ecosystems overall. Indigenous communities have been a part of and respected intertidal zones around the world for a very long time. They have long since learned how to find food and interact with these ecosystems. As rampant pollution and coastal development continues to threaten coastal waters, our intertidal systems deserve the best protection we can give them, so that many generations from now, these unique environments can still be enjoyed.